What dire warning from your parents turned out to be bullshit. If you get in trouble at school, it will go on your permanent record and ruin your life. Not once has anyone, from college admissions to prospective employers to loan officers, so much as mentioned the legendary permanent record. That my two choices in life were either Harvard or McDonald's. Sheesh. Bit of a grey area in between those two extremes. I was born left-handed. My pops used to smack the shit out Tammy if I used my left hand, in essence forcing me to be right-handed. I had to constantly remind myself to use the hand with my birthmark to avoid smacks. As an adult, I asked my pops why he forced me to be right-handed, and he gave some tepid response about when you're left-handed you'll have a tendency to pull that way when you're driving. Exposing you to oncoming traffic sounded like bullshit to me, and is confirmed by all the left-hand driver is the world that don't spontaneously drive into oncoming traffic. If anyone has any ideas, I'd love to know. For reference, my pops is an old school Vietnamese dude. I feel like it's a cultural thing, but I was raised American and have no fucking idea. When you press the red button with the triangle in the car, all the doors fall off. That if I used one brand of shampoo and a different brand of conditioner, that my hair would fall out. Also, when I was 5 or 6, I asked what would happen if you went the opposite way, that you turned the turn signal. My mom told me the car would explode and kill us. Not sure why she told me that shit. I would be unemployable if I didn't learn cursive handwriting. Parents and teachers made me think that every job interview would have a cursive test in which they would measure the loops on the L's or something. If you unscrew your belly button, your bum will fall off. I did my best to avoid screwdrivers for a large part of my childhood because I lacked the willpower not to stuff them into my belly button. I was terrified at the thought of losing my bum, but intrigued by the possibility. We can't pay $1 to go in the haunted house because they might not have a bathroom in there. What if you have to go to the bathroom? Just admit you're cheap, Dad. My mom warned me as a kid that eating the loose pieces of dried ramen from the pack would make me deathly ill. I kept doing it with no problems. One day she said that in front of my dad when I was a teen, and he just gave her this "WTF are you talking about" look. My ex-stepdad owned a restaurant where I worked as a busboy when I was a teenager. He was always very tough on me, berating my work, etc. While telling me that he was going easy on me, and when I got a job in the real world, his favorite phrase, "my bosses would be so much tougher on me." I quit a month before my 16th birthday and went to work at the local Dairy Queen and found out he was full of shit. My mom left him shortly after that, thankfully. If I cross my eyes, they might end up staying like that. Edit. Disclaimer. Some comments I've received believe this to be true. I'm no expert, but did a quick Google search which also said it was a myth. Cross your eyes at your own risk. When we would go to the beach, I would never want to get out of the water, so my mom told me that staying in the water too long would make me waterlogged. She said she could look into my eyes and see the level of water in my system. If the water raised above my iris, that meant I had to get out and let the water drain before I would drown. I believed this for far too long. My mom would always tell me, "Take that look off your face or it will freeze like that." When I was little, I took that as fact. I really wanted dimples like my friend down the street, so I would sit in my room with pencil erasers pushed into my cheeks forever. No dimples still. Watching TV will turn your brains into mush. I thought they meant literally. If you play too many video games, you'll have to get little braces on your fingers. Mom, the kid at the cash register at the grocery store had them because he played too many video games. Boys only want one thing from girls. Be careful in high school. That's all the boys will want to do. Turns out the one thing all the boys I hung out with wanted from me was a turn at playing Pokemon on my Gamma Boy. Microwaves will give you cancer. Cell phones will give you cancer. Smart meters will give you cancer. Wi-Fi will give you cancer. Conventionally grown food will give you cancer. Western medicine will give you cancer. Antibiotics will give you cancer. My mom was obsessed with cancer. Edit. Forgot. Sitting near the TV will give you cancer. Then she bought a 12 inches black and white TV. Bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Dungeons and Dragons is for devil worshippers. I'm now one of the many nerds devil worshipping. Not really a warning, but my dad told me I was Princess Poopsalotta of Lulu Island. I was maybe 4/5 and went to school bragging about how I was a princess and they better respect my authority. The school called my parents and my dad just about died from laughter. Getting less than 90% in school will make me a trash man and live a very miserable life. Edit. When I saw 100 messages on my phone I thought it was my WhatsApp. Holy damn, I was surprised that it was Reddit. And no, they are not Asians, they are Egyptians. That if I kept picking my nose my head would cave in. People you meet on the internet are swindlers or serial killers. Overall, the amount of people who are out there to get me and should be feared all day round was severely exaggerated. That explains some of my social problems, I guess. My parents are Korean, so fan death. When I leave my fan on at night, I feel so alive. Keep making that face, and it'll get stuck like that. You won't walk around life with a calculator in your pocket. Edit. My first gold. We did it Reddit. Thank you. Learn math because you won't be walking around with a calculator in your pocket. I'm typing right now on my calculator. I only wish I had a dire warning of any kind. In the late 70s I wanted to buy my first car. It was a 1977 Triumph TR7. It was the most unreliable car I ever owned. My dad later told me that he knew it would be a money pit, and when I asked him why he didn't warn me, he said I should learn from my mistakes. Thanks Dad. Semicolon. Sniffling kills brain cells. I didn't sniff or snort, even during colds, because I was terrified I would lose my brain cells. Turns out my mom thinks sniffling is annoying and didn't want to hear it. Edit. Gold. I know it's worthless internet points, but I'm so happy my childhood emotional trauma has finally paid off. Thanks. Edit 2. Thank you for the silver. I feel validated. Edit 3. Platinum. Nice. Thank you kind Redditor. Your generosity keeps my sniffles at bay. People who disobey their parents end up in prison. That if I ever told anyone about the abuse, I'd be taken away from them, put in a foster family, and that my foster family would rape me to death, decapitate me, and throw my head in the canal. Oh, and that the only reason why my parents didn't do the same was because they loved me. That's why my mom only beat the shit out of me every day instead of raping and murdering me. In reality, when telling people about the abuse, it's hard enough to get them to believe me, let alone do something. And I probably would have been much better off in foster care. My mom is convinced that if I don't take all honors and AP classes in high school, I'm going to drop out and not get into college. Whenever I try to drop out of a class, she emails my counselor and tells her to put me back in. Edit. Thanks for all of the supportive replies. I'll make sure to read them all when I get home from school. The world should have ended in 2012. After you betrayed me like this, and you moved to that bitch, you will never succeed in life. You will not graduate school, you will not work, and you will fail. Dad, 8 years ago, on the phone. To 13-year-old me on the day I moved indefinitely to my mother after 9 years of abuse. I work, I graduated school and I did not fail at the stuff you said I was gonna fail at. I might have failed in other things though, but that is another story. Don't sleep with socks, you lines become blind. Don't talk to strangers on the internet. Every rice left on your plate would be a new pimple on your face. If you keep masturbating, you'll go blind. Thoroughly tested and definitively false. Oral sex is dangerous and not pleasurable for either party. Oh my, How very wrong this statement was. D&D is a satanic cult that will lure you in order to offer you up for sacrifice. Lol no, mom. That gay people will trick me into sex.